Hey guys, so as we all pretty much know by now, the 1.5 update for Stardew Valley has brought about a ton of new content to the game. And with this new content, I just want to share with you guys some specific tips and tricks for Stardew Valley 1.5 to help you get the most out of your experience. So with that being said, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is just how beneficial the tea crop can be. This is especially true in the new beach farm, because the beach farm is a really unique setting for your farm, but it comes with one major challenge. Sprinklers don't work on sand, and the beach farm is pretty much all sand. There are a few occasional dirt or grass tiles which allow sprinklers to be placed, but these alone aren't really enough for the typical player to make a large farm. There is one crop though that can actually pretty much overcome this challenge completely that a lot of players overlook. Tea. Tea requires absolutely no water to survive and grow, making it one of the best suited crops for making a large farm in this new environment. So, although you can technically get tea from the traveling cart, I really wouldn't recommend this method. Instead, go befriend Caroline. After getting 2 hearts with her, she'll give you the recipe to create tea saplings. And Caroline likes daffodils, as you can see, so she is really easy to befriend. So after getting 2 hearts with her, all you have to do is come to this room in the top right corner of Pierre's shop area, and if you go into the room at the very top, the 2 heart event will trigger. And after Caroline talks for a while, she gets a little bit sus here. She does have a husband, so be careful with this one, but once she's done, you'll be able to leave. So now you can just go ahead and go home and head to sleep for the night. Alright, and in the morning, if you go to your mailbox, you should see that you have a new letter. And in this letter, Caroline thanks you and gives you the recipe for making your own tea saplings. Okay, and now you can see you're able to craft your own tea saplings, and it's really easy to make. It's just some wild seeds, some fiber, and some wood. And in this update, they actually made it so you can grow fiber. It's not going to be a limiting resource anymore because it's super easy to get fiber now. So overall, tea saplings are pretty much perfect, especially for the beach farm. You never have to water them, and they actually grow in spring, summer, and fall, and even winter if you plant them indoors. So they are pretty much perfect all around. So there you go. This is one way to still be able to grow a ton of crops on your beach farm. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about is palm trees. So as you can see on Ginger Island, there's a bunch of palm trees here, but please don't cut them down. It looks kind of tempting, but these are actually super nice if you keep them alive. These palm trees are actually able to grow coconuts and golden coconuts are especially what you're looking for here because they can give you some really nice items. If you do manage to snag yourself a golden coconut, go ahead and take it over to Clint. These basically act like a different kind of geode. The first golden coconut you ever have them open will be a guaranteed golden walnut. There's a large variety of items you can get though. As you can see right here, I got myself a banana sapling. And items like this are exactly why it is definitely preferable to keep those palm trees alive instead of taking them down for their wood. Okay, this next tip is very specific, but there's a pretty good chance it's going to save your life one of these days. So the first time you're going to encounter this is with the Danger in the Deep quest, but in the future if you ever have the shrine activated, there is a chance that while you're in the mines you'll encounter a putrid ghost. And these things give you the nauseating effect, which is a really nasty effect. This is a little bit of a secret, but you're actually able to just completely negate this debuff by just eating some ginger. So all you have to do is just bring some ginger on hand with you, and eat it when you have this effect on you, and you're good to go. I haven't been able to confirm this 100%, but I have heard and I'm pretty sure that ginger ale should be able to do the exact same effect as well, so you should probably be fine bringing either one of these. So now I've got a little bit of a variety of tips, but they're all about key special orders. So I don't really want to say that some of these are better to do than others because it is really subjective and it also just depends on your current situation. Like the Skull Cavern Invasion for example here, that could be super easy to do, or it could be awful. It really depends on where you're at in the game. So, kind of hard to say on what is a good and what is a bad challenge to do, but I can give you some general tips for some of the challenges to be able to do them more successfully. Okay, I know I just said I didn't want to classify any of them as good or bad, but I do want to give you a warning. Don't do the Keys crop quest unless you really like farming. So for this quest, you have to farm 500 of these key fruit things, which might not sound that bad, but it can be pretty rough. For this one to not be awful, you pretty much either have to have a really nice big farm setup, or you have to just really enjoy farming. If you fall into either of those categories, go ahead and do this, but otherwise, just avoid it. If you already have struggled through this one, consider yourself lucky because it could have been worse. It's actually been revealed from a bug in the game that Concerned Ape originally planned on you having to harvest double what you have to right now, so 1,000 key fruit. That would be absolutely insane. With that being said, let's talk about my tips for the next challenge. So the 4 Precious Stones challenge asks you to get 4 prismatic shards. And this can be a little bit misleading because for the other challenges, you typically have to actually acquire the items during the challenge and things like that. So you might go into this thinking that it's the same kind of situation, but it is not at all. For this challenge, if you wanted to, you could have those 4 shards in your inventory, pick up the challenge, and then immediately turn those 4 shards in, and you're good to go. You don't have to collect them during the challenge at all. You can immediately turn whatever you have in. But that's all I have to say about that challenge. Okay, the next challenge is called Keys Prismatic Grange, and this one sounds a little bit intimidating. Basically, you have to get 100 of each color of item. I don't really know how else to describe it. It's a little bit weird, but for example, you have to get 100 red items, so that could be like a cherry or fire quartz, anything that has a red appearance. You also have to get 100 orange, 100 yellow, 100 green, 100 blue, and 100 purple. And this one can be really tough if you approach it and you have no idea where to go with it, but I have a tip for you guys to know what the easiest items in my opinion are to be able to complete this challenge. So for your red items, go ahead and try cranberries if you have them, cherries, crabs, cherry bombs, and fire quartz. I say fire quartz because it's really easy to actually just set up a crystallarium type setup and have some fire quartz going and just get a bunch of them for this challenge. If you're willing to spend a little bit of money, orange can be super easy. You can just go to Clint and buy a bunch of copper ore and that can be it. Some other good options are to get oranges. Pumpkins would be my personal preference, but winter root would also work if you would like to forage those, so there is some things that you can do there. For yellow, you're pretty much always going to want to use sap. There are some other choices, but I think sap is by far the easiest and the cheapest option. For green, just go ahead and use some fiber. That's by far your easiest option here, and you can even grow it if you want to now in 1.5, so that makes it even better, so fiber's the way to go. For blue, I personally think the easiest option is to just go with Joja Cola. You can just buy it from the Star Drop Saloon and you're done. It's not too expensive and it's pretty easy to do it like that. Okay, and last but definitely not least is purple, and purple's a little bit of a tough one. But I think the easiest method to go with here is to just use refined quartz. You can get some crab pots set up with some recycling machines, and you should be able to have a pretty good supply of refined quartz within a decent amount of time. And there you go, those are all the items you need to be able to get done with this quest. Speaking more generally now, I just want to give you guys a rule of thumb. Just do the quests that actually sound fun to you. If you like fishing, there's a fishing quest. If you like farming, maybe you would like Keys Crop. If you're a hoarder, do Keys Kindness because you'll definitely have the items you need for that. And if you like mining, there's a lot of mining challenges too. So they have it set up in a really good way where there's basically always an option that will fit your playstyle. So don't force yourself to do something you don't like doing, just do something that sounds fun. Alright, my next tips have to do with hoppers. Hoppers are an item that are sold at Keys Shop, and they are relatively cheap and can be super useful. Hoppers allow you to automatically load items into machines, but did you know that you can actually have a hopper load in multiple different kinds of items at once? So in this setup here, I have a furnace that has iron ore and coal in it, so it will basically automatically be able to smelt the iron ore with the coal that I have in there. A large assembly of this kind of setup can make smelting ores super easy, so I really recommend doing this if you want to get a large amount of ores smelted quickly. Do keep in mind though, you actually do have to pick up the items, so it won't automatically get deposited or anything like that. Once the ore is smelted, you do still have to come by and right click and pick it up. Hoppers also have another use that is much less known, actually. So if you take a hopper and a deconstructor, deconstructors are also gotten from Keys Shop, by the way. It's not too expensive, so it's definitely worth getting a few. But take a hopper and a deconstructor and throw the hopper inside like this, you'll see that in just a little bit you'll get a radioactive bar, which is a really nice way of getting some radioactive bars, especially because radioactive bars can be a little bit of a pain to get sometimes. I wouldn't have this be like your go-to method for getting radioactive bars, since it is a little bit costly, but if you're in a pinch, this is a really nice tip. But now it's time for my final tip. So this little lava pool around the new forge is actually one of 2 places in the entire game where you can actually fish lava eels. So this makes it a super nice fishing spot because lava eels are actually insanely good to keep around. Lava eel fish ponds can produce a pretty consistent supply of spicy eel to eat, and this gives you a speed and a luck boost. So if you have a decent supply of lava eels, you can basically always have this buff active so you can always be benefiting from it. Also keep in mind, you only need to have 9 out of 10 lava eels in the fish pond for it to be able to produce. So that means that once it reaches 10, you can just fish out the extra one and get some extra profit from it. Last but not least with this, there's actually a little bit of a secret if you fish here. I'm not going to spoil this one, but if you're interested and you want to see what happens, go ahead and fish here for a while and just give it a shot. But with that, that has been my 6 tips and tricks for the 1.5 Stardew Valley update. I really hope these have helped you out. If so, please drop a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, but I'll see you in the next one. Peace.